Hey guys, welcome back. So, this is going to be me explaining the relationship that I was in that led up to my first serious suicide attempt. In the other video, I spoke about it briefly, but this is sort of the story behind what led up to it. And I will apologise if you see me rubbing my eyes or yawning or whatever, because I have not slept yet and I'm really, really, really tired. I don't know if you can tell. Okay, right, so basically when me and him started to see each other, he was already with someone. He fed me the normal spiel of that wasn't working out, they wasn't happy together, that it wasn't something that he wanted anymore, and that, just because of the family ties he couldn't really leave, etc., etc., which obviously was a load of bullshit. But in a really messed up way, because he already had a girlfriend, it made me feel extra special. I felt like, oh, I must be something special because he's got a girlfriend who's really pretty and he still wants me. Messed up, I know, but I mean, I was like 19 years old, so we started to see each other. And I said to him I wasn't gonna, put him. I said I'd wait for him, because I got involved with him knowing that he was in a relationship, and I said, like, I'm not gonna just come in and make demands of what you've got to do, this, that, and the other. It was wrong anyway, but I wasn't gonna start demanding this, that, and the other. So, and he was like, oh, you're so understanding, blah blah blah, and then so basically, but by the time it got to my birthday, I told him, look, I can't do this no more. So, if you can't break up with her, then me and you, we need to finish, just for the sake of my own sanity, because, he was very much leading me to believe that those two weren't even sleeping together and things like that. He'd taken me down to his parents' house in Kent, at the time, and he'd really, sort of got me involved with all of that. So in April, he told me that he'd been over there all day. This was my birthday, and I literally was sitting at my mum's, didn't really eat my dinner, I was just sitting there looking at the window waiting for him to turn up. When he turned up, he told me that he'd told her that they needed to go on a break and that he was going to finish it, etc., etc. It turns out that was absolute bullshit. He'd lied, hadn't even said a word to her, and then things just carried on. And then he was due to go down to Wales. He was saying that he was going to Wales to work on his music with his friends. And the day before he left, I used his phone to phone my dad. And I saw a couple of text messages on there from his friends, just normal text messages, like, no, not from girls or anything, just his mates. And then when he said goodbye to me to go off to Wales for the weekend, he'd left his phone behind. And then when I went to pick it up to, to go to phone or let someone know that he'd left his phone there, the text messages that were there the day before weren't there no more. Like, just text messages from his friends. Instantly, I knew that he'd left his phone behind on purpose, and that he had done that on purpose. So that was my first thing. So I went all flipping CSI and shit, and I phoned up the mobile phone company, and said that I'd lost all of the text messages. It was very important, and that sorry guys, got itchy ear. And that I needed to get the last numbers that had texted me, etc. So the numbers came through. I then text them people saying, Nick, like mentioning about Wales. Oh, Nicky's left his phone behind, and one of them texts back saying Wales ain't until next weekend. Again, bang! I knew something was up. And I obviously, because of the Gemma, it started to sink in. So what I did is I contacted the police and I said that I can't get hold of him. He's left his phone here. He's supposed to be going to Wales or blah blah. Oh, excuse me, heartburn. Going to Wales for the weekend, etc. And the police said that they would go and do a welfare check on, go and check on him at his dad's place. Well, when the police arrived, he was there. He was in the property with Gemma, who his girlfriend was, and they were going to look at properties to rent together. And I was just like, at the time, I was really upset. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's lied to me. They haven't broken up. She's got, and I sent her a message telling her absolutely everything about what had been happening between us. And from what she told me, she knew it. She knew it. Deep down, she knew it. And this, that, and the other, and said, you're welcome to him all, rah, 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 And I felt awful, but I don't know. She wasn't even that mad at me, to be honest. But the thing that is really, really fucked up, excuse me for swearing, but I was the one who was crying, telling him everything was going to be okay. He had gone and fucked me over majorly, and I'm crying to him, telling him, it's okay, I'm here for you, trying to comfort him over those two breaking up. I mean, now I look at myself and it's just like, slap, 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 you stupid bitch. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't do something like that. But, at the time, I was madly in love with this prick. This absolute disgusting piece of shit of a man. So yeah. And then we carried on. And it turns out that he'd slept with her and all this, that and the other, and it was just like, all I ever said to him is, if you're going to sleep with her, then tell me, because I don't want to carry on this no more, That's all I ever said. I said, I just want to know so that I don't have, but he wouldn't. And obviously, because of the mind games that he played, any time he went out after that, it was, is he really going where he say he's going? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? Because of the, the sneakiness behind the Wales thing. He wasn't ever expecting me to be that CSI shit and get all crazy. And, well, not crazy, just, doing what, like, getting the answers that I needed. And speaking to them, his friends and stuff. And his friends, and I think, actually, I'm not going to say the bloke's name, but he later on, this guy, I'm just going to call him Fred. This Fred guy apparently has still got voice recordings of me going batshit crazy. I'll explain that also. So, what happened is we carried on our relationship, and then he found out that I was pregnant, and we'd broken up. He got back with me so that I would have an abortion, and then, like, went, and luckily, that situation was already sorted out. He had decided he wanted to come in, and it was mad, All he kept saying to me is, like, once this is done, we can be okay, and then as soon as, I'd said no or go away and things like that, he left again, and he, oh, 1 second, because they've just come back. Sorry about this, guys. The dog's just come running in. Jack's just got back from his walk. So, yeah, and then right at the end of the relationship, what happened is there was another girl, like a girl that he'd cheated on me with. I went on holiday with my family, and I found out on holiday that he'd cheated on me, and that he'd gone to a festival, which was called Creamfields, I believe, and he'd gone with these girls. And the girl's friend told me that they'd been sleeping together. The girl denied it. I think she was just trying to save my feelings, to be honest, but she didn't say this, that and the other until obviously I started getting nasty, and then she told me the truth. He was in Amsterdam at this time, probably stoned out of his face, but yeah, so I still stuck with him like a twat. And towards the end of the relationship, he apparently had seen messages from my Facebook account. Apparently, he accused me of sending this, not the girl he slept with, but her friend, the one who told me. Apparently, I'd sent the friend messages saying that I was going to chuck him out at Christmas, and that I wasn't interested in him anymore, and that I was just using him, and I was going to get rid of him, and all this, that and the other. And I was absolutely distraught because I knew I hadn't sent them, and now I know he knows that I didn't do it because he made it up. He made that up, he knows that I didn't send anything like that because he made it up. But at the time I was so desperate to prove that I hadn't sent these messages. I literally drove myself crazy. I was getting so upset. I was like, well, look, we can get into the police. and I feel so pathetic saying this, but I was so desperate. I did not want to lose him. He was my everything. You know, I really was pathetic. But, you know, and then obviously he wouldn't let me prove it because he knew he'd get caught out. Hey, look, there's Kai. Kai, what are you doing? Yeah, so, basically, he went over to one of his friends for the evening, and it turns out he was actually at his friend's. But he'd lied to me and said that he was going to come home at a certain time. I'd waited in, and I just lost it. And I started screaming down the phone, I'm going to fucking throw your Xbox off the... or I'm going to chuck it out the window. I'm going to smash all your shit up. I went batshit crazy. And like I said, his mate, Fred, has said that they've got recordings of it. Which, to be fair, like, I know now, I'd probably laugh at it, like, why were you so bothered, you know? And so, yeah, so obviously he wasn't going to give me the chance to prove that that wasn't the case. And after I'd just lost it, after, 10 months of being emotionally fucked with, I'm talking proper, like, dildo in the brain fuck, no, it was just, nah, it was bad, really bad. So, and what he did is the next day, or so, he told me that he had to go to a meeting at work. And, sorry guys. He had to go to a meeting at work. So he dropped me off at my mum's and said that he'd pick me up later. And what he was doing at the time is him and Fred had gone to the property to take all of his stuff out of my house. And then when I spoke to him on the phone, he said, like, I'm leaving you, this, that and the other. And I just went, and it was like back to being an 11-year-old kid all over again. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I'll explain very quickly. I had someone who was my stepdad from the age of 2 till 11. When I was 11, it came out that his brother had been doing some not very nice things. And instead of stand by me, he just disowned me. I was 11 years old, and I went from having him as a dad one day to being disowned by him by don't want to know you no more the very next day, instant cut off, so I didn't know it at the time, but that's why I reacted the way that I did and took this overdose, because it was the fear of abandonment. It had happened to me again, and the shock of it was just no, but yeah, so what I did is I'd gone to the doctor's, got I wrote up a fake sleep diary, got sleeping tablets and some painkillers, swallowed them all, and took a very big overdose. And that was the suicide story that I did post. So I will link it in the description, because that tells you about that bit of it. But he was seeing me all through the hospital, telling me, because I was adamant I just wanted to get better for him. And then so that obviously the suicide, I attempted the suicide, and because I was in the hospital, I was literally only trying to get better for him. I wasn't trying to get better for myself, my kids. I only had one at the time. I got such bad heartburn. It's so distracting. I was literally just in there to get better for him. That's all I cared about, and then I came out of hospital in the beginning of January, like this sort of time, and then he broke up with me again after I came out of the mental hospital, just dropped me again, even though I'd been doing everything that I said I would do, get better, calm my jealousy down, even though I was not the one who needed to change. He was the one who was a prick. He made out that my mental health problems is why we didn't work out. No, it's because you're a lying, cheating scumbag who, you know what I mean? Like, as I said, I would rather be beaten every day of my life than have that sort of emotional shit going on. I really would. But yeah, so and then I'd taken another massive overdose, and I'd started talking to someone who I ended up getting engaged to. He was just a rebound thingy, So after Nikki left, I took another overdose. I wasn't hospitalised again because I managed to convince them that I would be okay. I went and met David later on that day, and after I got out of the hospital, I think it was a couple of days actually, and he kept my mind off of it, and then a bit into the relationship, I made it very clear to David that I was not in love with him, that I was still in love with Nikki. Even though he'd done all of that to me, I was still in love with him, and I still wanted to be with him, and, I wouldn't sleep with David and things like that, but he always knew that that was the situation. I never, and then after, like, carrying it on, I never carried it on pretending to be really, really in love with him. He knew. And then one day I sent Nikki a birthday card, a handmade birthday card, and just by chance I went and checked into an old Facebook of mine, and I seen that a couple of months back, like by the time I'd seen the message, it was a couple of months before that he'd sent it, and I'd only just read it. Like him saying about Nikki saying about meeting up for coffee, this, that, and the other. And I was engaged to David by then. I'd been with David for 10 months. It seems to be like the 10-month curse, but yeah, I'd been with him for 10 months, and I got engaged in October, I had my engagement party in October, and me and David had broken up a week later. Nikki had got back in contact, and decided to that he wanted to meet up for a coffee to catch up. When I saw him, I knew that I just couldn't carry on with David. So literally, I locked David out of my house the next day and said, look, and he's like, I know you don't love me though, and I've chosen to stay. Please, like, I'm choosing to stay. Let me stay. And I just said, no. This is for the best, and trust me, you'll thank me for it one day. And he has. He's with someone now who he's besotted with. I think they've got 2 kids now, and it was selfish of me to, sort of, but he was aware that I wasn't, like, my heart wasn't in it. And so I started to see Knob Jockey again. And when I was at the place, like where he was, I had to pretend that my name was Claire. He told me to tell everyone that my name was Claire, because apparently he'd spoken to all of these new people about his crazy ex-girlfriend, etc., etc. So my name was Claire. And then if anyone who actually knew who I was, or whatever, came to the caravan, I would have to go and lay in the bedroom for hours, and I used to do it. I literally used to go into the bedroom and wait for hours, just so, that I'd be able to spend the rest of the evening with him, which was really fucked up. But in the end, there was this guy that was staying with him, and I told him the truth, and it really freaked him out, because he was just a bit like, okay. I think he looked at Knob Jockey and thought, well, you're a bit weird. Sorry guys, hang on, I need to take a drink break. Got my Coke. There's no whiskey in it, just Coke. And then basically, we just, things just fizzled out again, because he kept saying to me something about going down his phone, and because I said to him, look, I'm only going to be doing this with you if we're exclusive, because if not, then, like, I don't want to be doing it with you, like, and I'm like that I don't think I'd be able to do the casual fuck buddy thing, and someone else having other fuck buddies, I have to be the only one. And if they're not okay with that, then they shouldn't continue with me. They should say, well, sorry, but I want more than one, and it's like, well, I wouldn't be able to handle that, so sorry, but ta-ta. Yeah. So, and then literally we stopped seeing each other, and something I find so hilarious, absolutely friggin' hilarious, right, is Jack loves fishing. He's fishing mad. And one of the first dates that he took me on was the fishing, and he took me to Crow's Heath fishing lake where Nikki was. And basically he, what was I saying? That's it. And he'd seen me, this, that, and the other. But Jack was messaging him on the Crow's Heath fishing page, actually asking him questions, this, that, and the other. And what is it? He put up on his because when Jack showed me, I went mad. I went absolutely mental. He'd put up, still 3 years later, and you're stalking me, crazy bitch, or something like very much similar to that. And Jack told me, and he was like, yeah, look, read through the comments. And Fred, that's how I knew Fred still had the recordings, because he wrote on it and said, oh, I've still got the recordings. But Nikki said that I used to drug him, that I used to make him cups of tea with dirty dishwater, that I never used to, let him out of the house. That bit is a little bit true. I used to want to know everywhere he was going, but that's his own fault. But that I said I was drugging him, accused me of all kinds of craziness, and it's like, mate, like, I was really in love with you, but I'm not going to drug you. Jesus, fuck, no, sorry, mate. This guy's head, yeah, if you was to see him, you wouldn't be able to spot him. You see, his head's this big. He walks like this. He can't keep his head up straight because he's got head so big. Years later, now I laugh at myself, sort of. I think to myself, you're pathetic. You are absolutely pathetic. This man, I'm telling you, I don't know. I thought he was literally like the Hope Diamond, and it's like, no, he's not even like cubic zirconia is like 10 times better than what he was. He's like, I don't know, piss water. I can't even explain it. There's not a nasty enough word to call him. He's nothing, and he really, 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 he got a kick out of me holding him up so high. He got a kick out of hurting me, and seeing me struggle and things like that, because he wouldn't have continued otherwise, And I know some men can be selfish, but, I'm starting to think he literally was just sticking around for the sex and the blowjobs. That's literally it. I know that that's a little bit TMI, but that's all he was sticking around for, because he clearly wasn't with me for my personality, because he didn't attempt to, even nothing. But when someone gives you something on a plate, and if you know that someone loves you more than anything in this world, right, then they do become less interesting to you, because in some really weird way, because if I want a fag and I've got some in my drawer or something, I can stay away from them because they're in my drawer, and I know that if I really wanted it, I could have it, But if the fags ain't in the house and I was really wanting a fag, it would make it 10 times worse, because he knew that I would give him whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted it. I was no longer interesting to him, and I do get that, now, because, I've had the situation that was a little bit like David, there was nice and you just got bored, but, at the time, I loved him so much. He would never find someone who loved him like I did, but, and that was at the time. It took me years to, get over it, but in the end, going through therapy, I realised it wasn't him I was getting over. It was because of him abandoning me, that I was so vulnerable again. I was like a kid being really, really vulnerable again, and really lost, not knowing where to go. So it wasn't actually him. It was just the situation that had been heaped upon me with the instant abandonment again. And, and just because, obviously where I explained his ex-girl, this is going to be a long video, sorry guys, because his girlfriend that he was with at the beginning, because she was pretty and he wanted me, that made me feel good about myself, that made me feel sexy. I never used to eat. I lost so much weight when I was with him, so much weight. Because I wouldn't want to eat in front of him. I'd want to keep my body skinny. I'd want to, and like I said, he obviously got bored because it was there for him all the time. I used to do, every morning, he used to get what he wanted. Things like that, So I mean, and now I really regret it, because I used to wake up sometimes at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I needed a wee or something, and he'd be sitting there, and he'd obviously be texting someone I didn't know at all, and he's telling me he's got a bad back. So what did I do? Get out of bed, go make him a cup of tea, come back, give him a back massage. 3 o'clock in the morning, didn't matter what time of night it was, didn't matter how long I had to do it for. He'd get his back massages, he'd get his tea, he'd get everything done, you know. Fucking, I just wish I could have, like, had a flash forward memory just to be like, listen, do not let that prick think that he is your everything. You know, that is the one thing I really do regret. You know, him seeing that he was my everything. I would love to be able to, you know, see him now. Because I think, deep down, he thinks if he was to come knock on my door and be like, babe, you want to meet up for a coffee or something, you know, he thinks I would go. I really do think that even to this day, he thinks I'd go. I'm telling you, I'd go with a cup of coffee, absolutely no problem. I'd pour it over his fucking head. So, because then, you know, he can be as ugly on the inside as, as ugly on the outside as he is on the inside. Because he is some seriously ugly bloke on the inside. Selfish, manipulative, emotionally abusing. Like, he's disgusting. He's a worthless piece of shit. Right, guys, so that is quite a long story, but sort of skipping over a whole 10 months and some more other things that had gone into it. I just thought, you know, I can't sleep, so I thought I'd record this video, because I've been saying I'll do it for ages, but I didn't really know where to start, where to begin, where to middle, and then where to finish. Didn't really know, so... if you did stay to the end, thank you guys. Don't forget to enter my giveaway. The link is in the description box. I'm thinking about doing maybe an About Me next, which will cover all of my mental health conditions that I have, and explain them and how I got them and things like that. So, yeah, alright. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you all lots. And, yeah, so, toodles!